Excadrill is the 11th raid boss of the 2020-25 Lunar New Year event in PokeMMO. Locations are on screen. Unova Twist Mountain is pretty easy to get to. You go from the entrance, so fly to Mistralton and then go in. It's one repel away. The rest, I'm not quite sure. Good luck. For mechanics, the boss has the ability Sand Rush and sets permanent sand at the beginning of the fight, making it have that speed boost for the entirety of the fight. We use Tailwind to counter this. The Tailwind and Sand Rush effectively cancel out, so you'll just need to think about naturally outspeeding the boss. It has the relatively high base speed of 88, so keep that in mind when choosing your Pokemon. The held item is White Herb, making it block any stat drop effects, so you'll need to deal with that White Herb early. I recommend defogging twice early. We'll get to that. It sets Swords Dance at 75%, has a protective shield that you need to break via stat drops at 50%, and an additional Swords Dance at 20%. And a little cheat sheet, it's not overly complicated, but helps to visualize. We're leading with a Tailwind and double defog. This is because the boss is holding White Herb, and we need the second defog to go off in order to get an evasion drop to allow less accurate moves to hit. It is somewhat necessary for this because the boss is somewhat tanky. It has a huge HP base stat, and that's reflected in how the damage scales. So we're leading with Tailwind, double defog, and a damage dealer. I recommend either something that's inner focus or is a special attacker because you can get an intimidate ad. May not be all that consequential in the end, but something to keep in mind. What we did was we used fake tears on turn 4. The way that this plays out is at the end of turn 3, assuming that you're doing damage cap, you'll hit the protective barrier, allowing you to just cleanly set up either fake tears or screech, depending on your choice. We had fake tears on hand via Infernape, though you can do whatever. Not that important that the slot be specifically Infernape. We then used special attackers from there on out. So we had 3 special attackers go off on turn 4. We reset Tailwind on turn 5 and finished off the fight on turn 6, all special attackers. I do recommend that you use harder hitting moves that are less accurate, like Overheat, in order to hit the damage cap consistently. For example, Choice Specs Typhlosion, while hitting an ad with Eruption, did not do damage cap, so the boss is quite tanky. And getting into the battle, we have our 3 Murkers out. That is a double defog, Tailwind, and damage. Like I said, you may want to worry about a potential Intimidate ad. We got the 216 speed Scarfed Excadrill ad. This is quite quick. So it may get a flinch off your Rock Slide, something to look out for. You may need to reset on that ad. It did not flinch us, so it didn't end up being that consequential, but just one to look out for in addition to that Intimidate, I think, Staraptor. But otherwise, ads shouldn't play that much of a factor. I'd recommend not attacking them if possible so that you don't get new ones that can cause problems. All damage on turn 2. We have 6% at the lead. This turn is 24%, totaling 30%, and then 24% on the next turn brings us over the 50% barrier, triggering the protective shield cleanly at that final Pokemon of turn 3 here. So that's why I still recommend that you double defog. There are other ways of dealing with the White Herb in order to get the evasion drop to make those lower accuracy moves hit. That it's just a very clean way to have the protective barrier go off at the end of turn 3, so you're not wasting any damage. So that's why we recommend it there. You can obviously play around with this if you so choose. You can set up the fake tears on turn 2 if you're proccing at that turn, for example. Not that big of a deal. We also go, you could flip this and go Screech this turn and have your physical attackers go later. You'll just have to coordinate with your Link. You need to lower the boss's stats and attack with that specific type. That's all that really matters in terms of coordination for the fight. Otherwise, it's just 2 Tailwinds and a lot of damage. I have a Volcarona with Fiery Dance here with Life Orb. It does not do damage cap, only does 5.1, so that's a testament to using higher base power moves, potentially the lower accuracy versions like Overheat, Blast Burn, High Jump Kick, those sorts of things. So keep that in mind. Typhlosion at the end with Eruption and Choice Specs only does 5%, so you will need higher base damage moves for calculation purposes. I think it's around 110-ish due to the fact that we have the multi-target penalty. So keep that in mind. Higher damage, base power moves, and we deal with the accuracy via the defog. So pretty straightforward overall. Not that penalizing. If you just make sure that you hit those damage checks and hit those coordination checks, you should be good to go. good luck with this one and have fun.